It wasn't an enormous budget, but there's still quite a lot of detail to go through. First of all, on the state of the economy, gross domestic product, these numbers here, they got a bit of an upgrade. So that's what was forecast last time around. And the higher these bars are, the better the economy is doing. You can see, look, these bars are a little bit higher. So stronger economic growth, even though there is a recession that we're going through right now. But partly that's down to higher migration. So it's down to a higher population. But really, the big story the Chancellor wanted to talk about was the fact that he said this is a tax-cutting budget. Is it a tax-cutting budget? Well, in one sense it is. This is showing you the tax burden, so the amount, the extent to which the UK is a high-tax economy, going all the way back to the 1940s. Last time around, look at that line. It was going up to the highest level since 1948. This time, the line, well, it's going up less quickly, but it's still at that very high level that we haven't seen since World War II. And why is that happening? Well, think about it, OK? These bars are basically showing you the impact of all of those tax rises that we've had recently. And the main kind of force of those tax rises is what they call fiscal drag. Basically, more people being dragged into higher tax brackets. So those bars going down means people are paying more in taxation. Then you had last autumn's statement, the cut in NICs. So the first cut in national insurance, that meant those bars were less far down. But you can see they're still in this kind of pink area that constitutes people getting less well off. It wasn't a giveaway in net terms. Same thing again this time around. So the bars go a little bit higher, but it's still in negative territory. People still paying more in taxation, and that's why that line is still going up. It's worth saying, if we just look at the breakdown of this budget as well, there were quite a lot of measures here in terms of money coming in there. So you had that non-dom reform, about £6.8 billion worth of measures bringing money into the exchequer, mostly non-doms, and you also had the energy tax levy as well. So both two kind of Labour policies people would point out. But by far and away, the biggest thing bringing in money was this national insurance, bringing in rather a lot of money and dwarfing pretty much everything else. It wasn't quite as wide, as deep a budget as a lot of people had expected. And part of the reason for that, for the lack of ambition, is the fact the government didn't have that much room to play with. It's got these fiscal rules. On the basis of the fiscal rules, these rules constraining how much they can borrow, they had about £13 billion to start with until they would break the rules. The OBR came along, the Office of Budget Responsibility, said, actually, the economy, public finances doing it worse, so they downgraded them. So they had less room to work with before they came to the actual sums. Then they did their spending, so what you've just seen there, national insurance and all of that, and now they only have £8.9 billion to play with. And if we just look at that in context, in historical context, that amount of headroom against the fiscal rules is one of the lowest we've seen for any Chancellor in a long time, raising the question, even if Jeremy Hunt did want to spend more in a pre-election event, how much more could he actually spend?